Okay, I figured I'd do a little update video on this Neon. Picked it up, didn't run. The guy that I got it from told me possibly a bad PCM, low on compression on number one, and had a misfire, so he replaced the coil. And I was like, okay, well, I got it home, pushed in the shop. First thing I did was threw a battery in it, tried to start it. It'd like bang like once or twice, and that was about it. Backfire. And then I was like, okay, well, let's check the spark. So I checked the spark. It was really intermittent. And then luckily I had another coil off one of these laying around. So threw it on, bought new plug wires, spark plugs, just because, you don't know. I didn't know if the guy replaced the plugs, the wires, what he all did. So fired it up. It had kind of run. It just wouldn't rev up like he said. So then I was like, okay, well, let's clean the map sensor because I've had that issue before where cars went in limp mode. So I cleaned it with, let's see here, this stuff right here, mass airflow sensor stuff, and it usually works. Well, still wouldn't rev up. I'm like, okay, well, we know we have good spark. So let's move on to the fuel. Well, there's no Schrader valve to use your fuel pressure tester. So I took the fuel line off and put that line in with some high pressure line clamp to it. And it was like 55 PSI and 51 after you let it set about 30 seconds after you keyed it on. And it just sit there. So I was like, okay, 58 supposedly passing, but it could be big. So, like, all right, so I started running, and I started pulling the injector right. Well, it's hitting, sparked all the cylinders. But when I pulled that one off, it didn't make a difference, or that one. And then I was like, okay, well, then... So I did the fuel, the spark, and then I was like, next up, tried the fuel pulse. So I went and bought an oil light at O'Reilly's and plugged it in. I had a really sporadic fuel pulse on that one too. That one was great. That one I couldn't even unplug because every time I unplugged, the engine would die. So basically where we're at is pulled the battery out of it now. Disconnected the PCM. I'm trying to de-energize the car. I gotta pull the fuel injector fuse too, and I would like to do a continuity test on it, because if I find bad continuity, maybe it's just a broken wire or a bad wire in the harness. Otherwise, I did a little Googling. It could possibly be a bad PCM, but I'd like to make sure the wiring's good before I go spending a few $100s on a PCM. I found a couple, and I found one where a guy will program it to this VIN number for this car for me. So that's really where I'm at on it. It does run, but like everybody said, the guys that I got it from said it was low compression, bad PCM. It is lower on compression. I mean, I did a compression test and I had 130 on this one, 148, 149, 151. The interesting thing is they told me one was running lean, or not, one wasn't running lean. One was running rich, when in fact it's four that's just running extremely rich. And that could be, could be a PCM. With the compression it has, it should still run. It should not be a junk engine like a certain group on Facebook. A bunch of people were jumping down my throat saying, yeah, the engine's junk, you got to replace the engine. No, with the compression it has, it's a little on the low side, but it's going to still run like that. I wet tested it to check if the rings are working, and everything was like between like 180, the weak side was like 220 PSI. I mean, so the rings are working. It might have some blow by, it might burn some oil. might not have as much power, but the engine it's runnable. I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe if I can get it running, we'll take it to the track and run it once and just see what it is, like see how bad this engine really is. Another thing, I don't know if it just got lost, but don't run your engines without an air cleaner. That could be why this thing's low compression. It's like dirt can get sucked in there. So much crap can get sucked in there. I mean, I don't know, maybe the guy before that had it sold it, but that's like the worst thing you can do is running engine without an air cleaner on it. I got it and it was half ripped apart. So I put the intercooler back together and I just mocked it up with the Mopar stuff. There's an aftermarket hard pipe and blow off valve in here, but I just wanted to keep it real simple until I can make it run. And if I can't make it run, which I'm about 80% sure I can make it run, if it can't run, I might part it out. So, but we'll see. I think it's either a PCM or something in the wiring to the fuel. Well, I know it is. It's either something in the wiring or the PCM. So even if I have to buy a whole new harness, it doesn't look that hard to put one of these in. But that's just where I'm at. I mean, yeah, we'll be definitely working on my Roadrunner and that charger soon. That's just kind of, I'm trying to acquire parts because I need to buy a bunch of metal because I need to make it more solider. I want to make the doors open, buy a wing for it, which I kind of have in the works, but I got to build a trunk in it because it's a dirty old race car. And then that engine, I don't know yet for sure, but that engine might end up in that car with a Liberty bell housing on it and an 833 overdrive 4-speed. Maybe a 488 with like a 355 gear or 373 or 323. I don't know. We'll see. But that's going to be a little more of a long-term project. I will be getting my Roadrunner in the shop. That's the 440 and the 4-speed I had in this car to mock it up. So there might still be a 440 4-speed that'll go in it at some point. But the Roadrunner and the Fury and the Jeep will also be coming in here, and I'll make some of these videos and see how it goes. And if you guys like and subscribe, if I hit 500 subscribers, I'll turn my comments on. I have 2 jobs basically I do, so I just don't feel like arguing on the comments. I mean, it's bad enough when I'm trying to sell stuff on Marketplace, and or if you make the wrong comment to the person on a Facebook group, it's just pointless. I don't know. People just, I don't know. But anyway, if I hit 500 subscribers, because I want to take one of my cars to the No Name Nationals, I will turn on my comments. That is my plan. But anyway, this is a tour of the Charger. So, yeah, like we got to make the doors open, and basically the biggest thing is we got to put a wing in it. So we're going to build a trunk in this thing because there's no trunk in it at all. But it'll definitely have some kind of manual and anywhere from 440 to possibly a SRT 4 turbo. And I've seen that they do make a wiring kit for the PCMs on these. They didn't have any in stock, but hopefully I can get a hold of one if I do that, because it said you can put it in any car. So otherwise, I'm going to have to keep... I'm not very good at wiring, but I can slowly figure it out. So I guess I'll just have to keep evolving. So yeah, this is just kind of the shit that I work on. I'll be doing a few more videos on some other stuff. If I think I know something useful, I might do a video on it, like a how-to video or something. Like if I don't see them littered on, YouTube. I mean, I just like, there's so many videos on how to do a compression test, how to do a fuel pressure test. That's why I just didn't even really get into it. Or how to use a Noid light. I mean, and some of it's pretty self-explanatory too. But that's it. Have a good day.